I came late to the scene of SanDiego, but I had a choice when moving from Nevada City down here to get more association from our home programs there to being with the temple program. We looked at Laguna Beach, New Dwarka, and New Govardhan. And of course, New Govardhan won our hearts because there was more of a family atmosphere here than there was elsewhere. And hearing about Gunagrahi Swami's activities, his mood, the way he helped so many of us here, I can appreciate that is, to a large extent, part of his glories. In other words, due to his association, a lot of us have been influenced where we care about each other. And this is no insignificant thing, caring about the Vaishnavas. That you can say in a one-liner is that he was a Srila Prabhupada man. I can't help but thinking of a pastime with Srila Prabhupada and Your Holiness Giriraj Swami, where Srila Prabhupada asked him in Vrindavan, do you think this movement will go on? If I'm correct in quoting you, yes, Srila Prabhupada, if we chant our 16 rounds and follow the 4 regulative principles. And the way I remember it, or having heard it, was Srila Prabhupada, But specifically the one-liner I remember Srila Prabhupada saying was, if there is good management and intelligence and good management, you can correct me, but then it can go on. Gunagrahi Swami embodied spiritual intelligence and good management. It's really rare to have both. Managers in all reality, we're a dime a dozen. Anybody can be told what to do and kind of try their best to do it. But to have the spiritual intelligence, those are what make, and combine the two, those are what make our leaders, the true leaders. And Gunagrahi Maharaj was a true leader because he had Srila Prabhupada's mood. We heard it expressed so many times. He wanted to share Krishna with everybody. That's Lord Chaitanya's mood. That's the mood of our disciplic succession. And we have leaders like that and so many others taking up this mood. But those who are empowered to be so intelligent and so dedicated to the instructions of their spiritual master, that was one thing I'm glad Ladali made mention of it. I remember he was one of the first ones that I was aware of. He would just research extensively Srila Prabhupada's teachings and instruction on any given subject matter. Now everybody does it. We all have access to it. I can remember him and Mahatma Prabhu. They were right there and, really trying to understand and then to execute those orders, because this glorification of Gunagrahi Swami is really glorification of Srila Prabhupada. For those of you who never met Srila Prabhupada, Gunagrahi Swami, he reflected an aspect of the jewel, the priceless Vaidurya jewel, Chintamani jewel that is Srila Prabhupada. And then those of you, may I be so puffed up and bold to say, in some of us, in our own small ways, reflect some of the inspiration and some of, aspiration to follow in his footsteps. God, I wish I could do 1% of what Gunagrahi Maharaj has done in service of Srila Prabhupada. And I will be short, but I want to make this kind of one-liner. When I say pastimes of Bhakti Ratnakara and Chaitanya Charitamrita, the life of Gunagrahi Swami is so perfect in all respects. At least this is how I'm going to see it and try and relay it. Half of the glorification we heard of Gunagrahi Swami's services was when he was a householder. Half when he was a sannyasi. It's significant. These things are the externals, the ashrams. They give us channel or direction for duties, which help purify the consciousness of us conditioned souls. But for those who are fully surrendered to the spiritual master, empowerment is available for any of us and all of us, and he embodies that. There's one pastime in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and I'm really going to say it hopefully in an appropriate way, so that all of us, and specifically the younger devotees, can get it. Lord Chaitanya had a servant, Krishna Das, who assisted and served him as he went to South India. And he had a fall down. And Lord Chaitanya mercifully delivered him. And when he came back, acting as a strict sannyasi, he rejected his association. But the Vaishnavas could not reject such a sincere servant of Lord Chaitanya, a heartbroken, repentant servant of Lord Chaitanya, and they gave him service to go to Mayapur, Navadvip, and explain the glories of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, preaching in South India. The devotees in Navadvip, Mayapur, nor those in Puri, they did not write him off, which sometimes is the tendency. Gunagrahi Maharaj set an example when he had a weakness and had difficulty. He actually bared his soul to some of his godbrothers and friends. Most of the times when somebody has some difficulty, we're ashamed of it, but you put it aside. And there's even the fear of not for the leaders, the preachers of a movement, when they've had difficulty, not to share with others, because sometimes they get put off in a corner and they never get that much chance to, again, get out and preach. I've seen it. I know what I'm saying. I think of Suhotra Swami and Gunagrahi Swami one time at a Gaur Purnim festival in Mayapur. For 5-6 hours, they simply chanted one tune of the Maha Mantra out there. And it was the simplest tune. Harekrishna, Harekrishna. Gunagrahi Swami had a taste for chanting. He knew it was everything. And a lot of these points are interconnected, and I hope I can do the tapestry proper credit. All the good has been said, and we're going to hear even more from Giriraj Maharaj. And I won't take that much longer. But what I want to say is that we should have faith in this process of bhakti. Srila Prabhupada never rejected anybody. One disciple he wrote off because he was so offensive and kicked him out. 2 weeks later he's asking, have you heard of so-and-so? Do you know where he is? It is the love for the Lord, the love of the spiritual master that manifests in our love for others. And even if we have to be very strict with others to help them or to protect society at large, the main thing is, it was said in the discussion, was it was for the betterment of the devotee, to help them. It came from love. The chastisement came from love. So Maharaj set the perfect example. He ends up going to Vrindavan. He followed the example of Srila Prabhupada. You help facilitate that. These things are the perfect example. I mean, who's perfect? And what is perfection? Perfection is giving your life to the spiritual master. And he did that. Perfection isn't the renunciation of a sannyasi. I couldn't help but think, we have so many sannyasis, and the traditional concept of a sannyasi, man, we have so few of them these days. But it doesn't really matter in this sense, because it's not renunciation that captures Krishna. It's bhakti. No, nothing gives birth to bhakti but bhakti. And bhakti you get from one who possesses it. He got it from Srila Prabhupada and Prabhupada's followers, Prabhupada's disciples. And when one has bhakti, then renunciation and knowledge truly manifests in a way that doesn't eclipse the loving service and the desire to help others. Maharaj, Gunagrahi Swami, he had that. We're so fortunate to have seen that and to have benefited from that. And so I just wanted to say, because sometimes, it's such an important lesson, I think, for our society. Maybe because people knew he would be soon leaving or this or that, but they didn't brand him, or they didn't say you shouldn't associate disciples, leave him, etc. To me, I think it's such a disservice. Let love play itself out. It's between the spiritual master and his disciple, Prabhupada, and disciple, and the servant of Prabhupada taking the service of spiritual master with his disciples. Let love play its own course. Love it's blind. Srila Prabhupada, as I said, didn't kick people away. Always gave them service, gave them opportunity. If you can't work with others, come serve with me. Come with me. That's the mood of ISKCON. That's the mood of Srila Prabhupada. All embracing. My God, a murderer to, saintly Vrajavadu. This is Srila Prabhupada in his mood and instruction manifesting through this saintly devotee. And Krishna is so kind and perfect. For someone who wants to find fault, you can find fault with Gunagrahi Swami, or I don't even want to say anything else. You can find fault with even Krishna. But the mood and example has been shown to us, and I'm just so grateful for his example, for the fruits of his preaching, to be a part of this family. I'm so fortunate. I'm so grateful. I thank my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. I thank Gunagrahi Swami for his part in making it a reality. And I thank all of you. Srila Prabhupada ki, Gunagrahi Swami ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki.
Hare Krishna. Is anybody else who'd like to come forward and say a few words? What's that? Okay. Sure.
Listening to all of you today, I realized how much he was a very important part of my life. He was always kind to me, which in this day and time is a very rare thing. And he always acknowledged my presence with the deities, my attachment to Chaitanya Nityananda. And I did not know that he started Govindas and that he started the dinner program, which I was definitely frequent flyers at all of those in the beginning. I weave in and out of the temple now, and I always have woven in and out. But Govindas was a very amazing place, and I brought many people to it, and it was a very sustaining thing in my life. I first came to the temple the day that it opened, which is really amazing to me. And then I came back many times. Many people brought me back, or I accidentally came here, whatever. And for me, it was initially just because I'd become a vegetarian that year, the year that the temple opened in February of 77. I became a vegetarian in November of 77 when the temple opened. It became a place for me to instill my vegetarianism, to keep me grounded in vegetarianism, because I lived out on the at the beach with all the partying that happened. And being a vegetarian, I needed my spiritual family here. And you're definitely my spiritual family, even though I'm not here as often and I'm not fully committed. I'm here. I'm with Krishna consciousness, and I'm with all of you. And thank you so much. And thank you, Guna. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
What's that? Okay.
So I met Gunagrahi Maharaj in the SanDiego Temple, 3rd Avenue, 1970. From the day when I was there, and he started taking over the 3rd Avenue Temple after Bhakti. And okay. After Bhaktidas, he took the temple management there. He did excellent job there. Then he said he's going to move here, and he purchased the temple and everything. And he was an excellent manager and a beautiful singer, great Vaishnava from the Prabhupada line. And we used to eat a lot of prasadams there, 10 items every week. And they used to come to Balbaba Park. We used to go there. Then he moved here, and he started this temple actually, basically. And they used to have nice prasadam to everybody, 10 items every Sunday. Till the end of this leaving from SanDiego to India, I was there with him, and I served him last minute in the kitchen. One time he asked me to cook in the kitchen. So we had a good association with Prabhupada, our family, from the beginning of 3rd Avenue. So I really appreciate, we miss him a lot, our family and everybody missed him a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Prakash. Hare Krishna. Okay, is there Yudhishthira Prabhu? Sometimes we have what we call big Yudi and little Yudi, but little Yudi is really not that little, so they're both big Yudis.
Actually, a devotee in LA asked me, he said, oh, how's the real Yudhishthira doing? I said, I knew immediately who he meant, of course. I'm not the real Yudhishthira. Gunagrahi Maharaj has been a profound influence on me. When I first joined the temple, I had heard about Gunagrahi Maharaj. He wasn't here. I believe he was in Korea. He was preaching in Korea, and I was told he made one Korean bhakta. The story I've heard is that his name was Yu Chan Ting. That could be an embellishment. I don't know. But it's possible. So Gunagrahi Maharaj was definitely like a spiritual father to me. In the family of New Govardhan, he's definitely a spiritual father. Sometimes very stern, sometimes very funny. If he gave you instruction, you'll never forget it. So I have a lot of little instructions that he gave me, and I remember all of them. One of the first classes that I remember hearing from Gunagrahi Swami was a Sunday feast lecture, and at the end of the class, a guest asked, how come I look around and everybody here is so young? And Gunagrahi Maharaj said in a very kind of solemn voice, he said, because when you take to Krishna consciousness, you stop aging. It was hilarious. So he could be very, deep and profound and then hilarious at the same time. And then in another lecture that I'll never forget, he was asked a question, I believe it was a Bhagavatam class, and someone asked him, Maharaj, how is it? They say that when the soul goes back to Godhead, he never returns. So with free will, how is that? And Maharaj said, because when the soul, the journey of the soul returning home is so profound that you never want to come back. I thought that was perfect. So Gunagrahi Maharaj has left a permanent impact on me, as everybody in this room I know. And Gunagrahi Maharaj is in all of the devotees here. And I thank him for all of his merciful association. Gunagrahi Maharaj Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna. Do we have anyone else here? Anybody else? Mahabharat, Prabhu.
I'll just say something very brief. First time that I saw Gunagrahi Maharaj was in Guadalajara, Mexico. I was visiting, trying to change my life, because in Central America things were a little difficult, and I just knew I wanted to serve. I just wanted to serve Prabhupada's movement. So I went there. I wanted to meet Hridayananda Maharaj to ask him for some advice. And Gunagrahi Maharaj was there. He came over to the festival invited by Guru Prasad Maharaj. So Maharaj, invited me to come here, and I came to SanDiego. I stayed in SanDiego. My life became what it is now because of Maharaj. Maharaj definitely made that thing happen. He helped me a lot, tremendously. But one thing that I noticed about Maharaj is that every time he came and stayed with us, Ladli pretty much told you something about it, but Maharaj would always ask me about all the devotees who were around. Have you seen Jivananda? Have you seen such and such? How are they doing? I remember one time he asked me for Jivananda, and I said, yeah, he comes to the temple sometimes. And he goes, well, next time you see him, tell him I want to talk to him. And then Jivananda showed up in the kitchen, and I go, hey, Jivananda, Gunagrahi Maharaj is here? And he goes, oh, really? Yeah, and he would like to talk to you. And Jiva goes, oh no, he's going to want to make me Krishna conscious. As a joke. But Maharaj was always doing that. Maharaj was always asking for all those devotees who were not around anymore. He always cared about everybody, so he was always thinking about them, and he always wanted to see them and try to revive their Krishna consciousness. And that made him very special to me. I know we're pretty much out of time, many other things I could say, but I really want to hear from you, Maharaj, because I know I just have a few, as I said, I came in 1988 to SanDiego. Maharaj was pretty much traveling everywhere, and I didn't really have much time with him. But the times that came, once Gandharbika had moved out, he would stay with us in our house. So it was always a blessing to have, and he would call and say, can I stay with you guys? And there was a moment I said, Maharaj, this is your house, Maharaj. You can come anytime. He made me feel like that was his house. I'm just taking care of it while you're not here. I would say that to him. And then Maharaj, every time he would come, he was always, increasing our Krishna consciousness. Definitely, it was a warm welcome. I always see him like my spiritual uncle, my favorite one of all of them. And just like, I would say, just like Krishna's glories are unlimited, Prabhupada's glories are also unlimited, and all the devotees who serve them too. So Maharaj is there, definitely. Hare Krishna.